Hello and welcome to Devil's Advocate. On what basis has the Indian team for the Cricket World Cup been chosen? That's one of the issues I shall discuss today in an exclusive interview with the chairman of the selectors, Dilip Vengsarkar. Mr. Vengsarkar, let's start with team selection. There's a widespread belief that a significant shift has taken place in the thinking and philosophy of team selection since you took over as chairman from Kiran More. Would you accept that?
Yeah, I get that, yeah. Because if you see, I think a lot of players, I think who were not there before, I think we have selected them purely, I think form and fitness. I think which is very important for us.
Let me
sum up. Age, of course, there is no criteria for that.
Age is no criteria. In fact, that was the point I was going to make, because in a sense, Kiran More's approach was summed up when he said, we're not just picking for the next few months, but for the next generation. We need fresh legs in the team to build a side for the future. In contrast to that, you've brought back several older players like Ganguly, Kumble, Zahir, and in a sense, you're indicating that experience is an important concern for you.
I agree with Kiran that I think it's important to have fresh legs in the field, definitely. But the fact of the matter is that you have to win matches also. And experience plays a very, very important role. You can't buy experience off the shelf.
So in a sense, if it's a toss-up between experience and fresh legs, you've sided on the side of experience?
Not really. I think it's a combination of both.
A combination of both?
Yes.
Not fresh.
You have to pick the right combination. The experience plays its role, and so does youth.
Okay. Now, when you picked the team that's just gone to the West Indies, did you choose it primarily for the World Cup? Or in a sense, is this also the shape of the future team for the foreseeable future?
No, the thing is that I think we watched 8 matches, I think, which were organized, and India did extremely well in those 8 matches. So I think we just set, we just have what I think with other guys, I think, who are selectors. They agreed with me also. And so we picked the best combination.
Let's talk a little about the team that's been sent to the West Indies. When you took over as chairman of the selectors, you said to the Hindu in December, I can certainly say that form and fitness will be 2 factors that will govern team selection. Yet in the end, you've also included people like Pathan, Yuvraj Singh, Munaf Patel, who are not totally fit, and Virendra Sehwag, whose form is in question.
Yeah, sure. I think if you see, I think Irfan and Sehwag, I think if you see the record, I think it's a fantastic record. I think they have done well in the past. I think they're proven players. But then again, form is very important, as you said.
But here, experience has made the difference.
Experience also made a difference, and they have gone back, and retained their form.
So, in a sense, if it's a tie-up, then experience makes the difference.
Yeah, experience definitely helps a lot. Because if there are any games, I think, which are tight games, I think experience wins.
How confident are you that on the basis of their experience and their previous record, people like Irfan Pathan and Yuvraj Singh can deliver at the World Cup?
Yeah, if you say, I think Irfan is a very young guy. Yuvraj, I think, played an explosive innings, I think, Baroda. At the last game which we won against Sri Lanka, I think Vizag. I think he's back in form. I think he's young also. And we got a lot of hopes from him, from both of them.
But do you think you were right to perhaps overlook someone like Ramesh Pawar? After all, he took 4 critical wickets in last week's Yodhar Trophy match. And you yourself have gone on record to say that Pawar has performed well and taken wickets whenever he has been given a chance. Wasn't that a reason to give him another chance rather than deny it?
Definitely, I agree with you. I think it's very unfortunate. I think he couldn't make it to the team. Because he's always performed, I think, whenever he got the opportunity. But again, I think Harbhajan, I think, is doing well. I think Anil Kumble is an experienced bowler. And we could pick, I think, 2 spinners. Besides, there are, I think, 3-4 guys who can bowl also.
So purely bad luck and nothing else counted against Ramesh Pawar?
Sure, purely bad luck. And again, I think he's got a lot of matches coming up now, I think, after the World Cup. I think there are a lot of ICC events also. And I'm sure he'll get back to the team.
Do you slightly regret the fact that bad luck went against him? You sound as if you regret it.
Definitely. Yeah, but then we could pick only 2 bowlers. I think if you had to pick about 4 bowlers, or 3 bowlers, or 4 bowlers, I'm sure that he would have been there.
The man against whom perhaps there are the greatest question marks is, of course, Virendra Sehwag. He hasn't scored a century since April 2005. In the last 15 innings he's played, he's only made 150, and his record over that, in fact, is an average of just 17.30. Many people say that in picking Virendra Sehwag, you've allowed hope to triumph over experience.
I agree with you, but then again, I think there are some some players in the team also, I think they back Sehwag. Because Sehwag, I think, has done exceedingly well in the past. And besides, I think he has won a lot of matches for India. So we are hoping, I think he would do well in the World Cup.
When you say some players in the team back Sehwag, are you suggesting that you were under pressure from the captain in particular?
Not under pressure as such, but then again, I think I would always back captain.
And the captain wanted Sehwag?
Definitely, yes.
So that in a sense made the difference?
Yeah.
But if Rahul hadn't demanded Sehwag, then there's a possibility Sehwag might not have gone.
Definitely, I agree with you.
So Rahul really made the difference?
He made the difference. Because again, I think I wouldn't like to go and say that, I think, I think I would always back a captain. Because I think in 89, I think when I was a captain, there were always 3 versus 2 selection committee meetings, and they never gave me players or whatever, I think, which I think I was keen on.
You backed
I didn't want Rahul to go through the same thing.
As you had to go through?
As I had to go through. So that is why actually I backed Sehwag, and because Rahul insisted, I think he should be there.
You backed the captain, but in doing so it was a bit of a gamble, wasn't it?
It is a bit of a gamble, definitely. But again, I think cricket, you have to take these gambles.
Have you got your fingers crossed?
Absolutely, very tightly.
One of the consequences of the team that you've chosen, people say, is that fielding could be a weakness. Greg Chappell, in an interview to Cricinfo, has said, concern is probably not strong enough. We are going to concede runs in the field to better teams. There's no doubt about that. Do you share Greg Chappell's concern?
I do share his concern, and I always feel, I think the fielding, I think, is a bit of this thing, I think, which I would say is weak link. But again, I think we got a strong batting lineup, and we would score runs.
But you're putting a lot of pressure on the batting lineup, and you're putting a lot of pressure on your bowlers, because your fielding will be conceding, Greg says, perhaps up to 30 runs a match.
Well, 30 runs, I wouldn't say, I think 30 runs as such, but the thing is that I think we have got the best batting lineup in the world cricket. And if you see, I think Irfan can bat number 7 or 8. I think we've got a strong batting lineup.
You're really relying on Irfan and Yuvraj Singh pulling together, but suppose Irfan and Yuvraj let you down because their fitness doesn't work. Suppose Sehwag lets you down because his form doesn't work. And then, of course, you have Anil Kumble, who's aging. In that circumstance, with a weak fielding side, you're putting a lot of pressure on the rest of the team.
Not really, because I think if you see at the batting lineup, man to man, I think it's the best in the world. If Sehwag fails, Dhoni will score runs. I think Dhoni fails, Sachin will score runs. And if you see the batting lineup from 1 to 8, I think it's the best batting lineup.
In these circumstances, when you have, in fact, a weak fielding side, which you acknowledge, and the coach acknowledges it as well, shouldn't you have considered someone like Mohammad Kaif? After all, he's a great fielder. And more than that, the last time the team went to the West Indies, he ended up being India's best performing batsman in the 5 one-day games they played there.
Yeah, but if you see his form, he's not scored runs, really, to be honest with you. And just having a good fielder, we want batsmen to score runs also. I think who will put runs on the board.
So good fielding is not enough?
Not enough. I think you have to bat as well.
And it was the fact that he wasn't batting well that was held against Kaif.
Very true.
One last issue to do with team selection before I take a break. What is the logic and the thinking behind appointing someone like Sachin Tendulkar as vice captain?
Yeah, because Rahul Dravid, I think, experienced other guy in the team. And Sachin also is an experienced player in the team. If something happens to Rahul, God forbid. I think we wanted somebody, who is an experienced player, I think, who would lead the side.
Did Rahul ask for Sachin as vice captain?
Yeah, nobody asked for Sachin.
Did you consult Rahul before you chose Sachin?
We did not.
So it was entirely a decision taken without Rahul asking or without Rahul being consulted?
Yes.
Kapil Dev's gone on record to say that in fact the vice captaincy should be considered as a sort of training ground, a grooming ground for the future captain. You've disagreed with that, haven't you?
No, I agree with him. But then who would you pick as a vice captain now, at this stage of the thing? I thought Sachin was the best man to lead the side. I think in case Rahul is not there in the team.
You're also suggesting that Sachin was chosen by default because there was no one else there, therefore you had to have Sachin.
I wouldn't say that, because Sachin is an experienced player. I think he's led India before. I think he's been captain of his state also, Mumbai also. And I thought, I think he was the best man to lead.
Suppose Rahul Dravid were to step down for the captaincy after the World Cup ends, you could then be left in the embarrassing position of having to appoint someone as captain who's never had the benefit of being vice captain.
I can't think, beyond World Cup at the moment.
And you're hoping that doesn't happen?
No, nothing. I think that sort of thing, I think it won't happen, I'm sure about it.
Once again, you've got your fingers crossed.
Well, you never know. I think anything can happen in cricket as such, but the thing is that I don't want to go on record to say what will happen, I think, in future.
Let's take a break at that point. I want to come back and talk about the future, not in terms of who's going to be captain, but how you think the team is going to do and what you think the future is for the team. We'll be back in a moment's time to continue this interview. See you after the break. Welcome back to Devil's Advocate and an exclusive interview with the chairman of the cricket selectors, Dilip Vengsarkar. Mr. Vengsarkar, let's look ahead. India plays its first World Cup match on the 17th with Bangladesh. How important is a good start?
Well, I think it's the most important. I think if you get a good start, I think nothing like it, because I think it's important to win all the matches. And winning is a habit they have to form early in the tour.
So the earlier they start winning, the more they will build confidence.
True.
Last time round, the team in fact got off to a pretty shaky start. If the same thing were to happen this time round, do you think this team, which people have described as Dad's army, has the capacity to pull things back together?
Obviously, yes, definitely. I think it's a good side. I think don't say. The thing is that there's a good blend at your youth and experience. This is not Dad's army, as such as I think you're saying. But the thing is that I think you have to win all the matches. And they have the capacity to win the matches.
Last time round, when the team didn't begin well, there was in fact an enormous emotional response in India. There were questions asked in Parliament. In fact, sadly, there were even stones thrown on the homes of some of the players. What advice as chairman of the cricket selectors do you give to Indian fans?
The thing is that I think it's just a game, and one must not go overboard with emotions. I think just sit back and enjoy cricket.
The problem is that if the team isn't playing well, and if they're not playing well because people feel unfit players have been chosen or out of form players have been chosen, then is it easy to take it in the way you're suggesting?
No, if you see, I think unfit players are not chosen first and foremost thing. I think Irfan Pathan, I think, is declared fit 100%. Yuvraj Singh, I think, has scored runs. I think he's 100% fit. So there is no unfit person in the team at all now at the moment.
So when the press points to these two as being, when the press points to these two as being unfit, you therefore refute that completely.
Absolutely. But the thing is that, sure. I think he has not played last 8 matches. He just played 1 match, I think, out of 8 matches. But then again, he's got his fitness back. I think he bowled for West Zone. I think he bowled really well. But then I think you can't call him unfit now, because if you say that physio of the team, I think he has declared himself 100% fit.
Does it worry you that if the team doesn't click in the beginning, many Indian fans who are so keen on seeing India win might actually turn to the selectors, and they might perhaps turn to you in particular and say, you sent the wrong guys?
But who would you send? If you're selected, who would you send?
That, of course, is the
this is the best team I think we could choose. And this is the best combination we could choose. So if they don't perform well, you can't help it.
So that's the other message you're giving the Indian audience. You're saying if they don't perform well, don't blame the selectors. This is the lot of people we have to choose from.
No, but I'm optimistic about the whole thing. I think they will do really well. Because if you see, I think it's the best team what we have at the moment. I think there are players, I think, who are experienced, I think, who are young also. And they will do well in the World Cup.
You say you're optimistic. In that case, you know that everyone wants India to win. But realistically speaking, how far do you personally expect India to go?
Yeah, well, if they go till the last 4, I think it could be anybody's cup.
All the way to the semi-finals?
All the way to the semi-finals.
Do you realistically expect them to go, or are you just saying that because you have to?
No, not necessarily. I think every team is equal. If you see, I think all 8 teams in the fray are good sides. And again, I think whoever plays well on the particular day will win.
Let me rephrase that. Will you, as selector, as chairman of the selectors, be disappointed if India doesn't make it to the semi-finals?
Of course, I'll be very, very disappointed.
Because you think on form and fitness, and on the sort of selection you've made, this team should go to the semi-finals.
Yeah, because as I said before, I think it's the best team I think we have at the moment. And they must reach the semi-final because I think they have the ability. The thing is that they have to believe in themselves. They're the best in the world, and they are the best in the world.
At this moment in time, given that they've had a lot of ups, but they've had a lot of downs as well, do you think they believe in themselves, or have they gone with doubt in their mind?
I don't think so, because if you see the last 8 matches, I think what we just finished now, I think they played like champions.
But the track record before the last 8 matches was pretty awful.
And that was in South Africa.
Is that still in the back of their mind? They could be playing South Africa.
Yeah, fair enough, but they'll be playing in West Indies. And if it's conditions, I think West Indies, in India, there is not much difference. And I hope, and I'm sure, I think I think they will do extremely well.
How much difference, in your analysis, how much difference and what was the contribution of Greg Chappell to India's preparation for the World Cup?
He had quite a lot. I think he's been the coach for the last 2 years and he's done reasonably well. I think we have won quite a few matches and he has brought in, his input is quite important for the team's success.
You've used a very careful, measured word. You said he's done reasonably well. That doesn't sound like big praise.
Yeah, you can't say I think he's won all the matches for India. Indian team I think has done exceedingly well as such, But if you see last 8 matches, I think they have peaked quite well.
So you have a few reservations about the manner in which Greg has coached the team?
Not really, I wouldn't say that. I think he's done reasonably well. As I said again, and you can't say I think he's done extremely well. Like I think he has just absolutely changed the side as such, But again, I think he's trying his best, and he's given a shot.
Has he lived up to the enormous expectations people had when he came?
Well, that we will have to see after the World Cup. I think how the team plays in the World Cup.
So at the moment, regarding Greg, if you were to be asked your advice whether he should be retained after the World Cup, is your answer that let's see how the World Cup goes?
I wouldn't say that because Greg I think has done well, and I hope he remains with the team.
Beyond the World Cup?
Yeah, beyond the World Cup.
So your vote, if it is asked for, is to keep Greg as coach beyond the World Cup?
Well, again, I think it's up to the BCCI. It's not up to me.
True, but
if you ask me, definitely I would like him to be there, I think, with the team.
When you first took over, you made certain comments about the fact that perhaps India wasn't always picking the best talent, and you were particularly concerned about junior selectors. Do you think that we're finding the right talent, nurturing it, and giving it opportunities?
Yeah. See, if you see, I think BCCI infrastructure, for under 15s, 17s, 19s, it's excellent infrastructure what we have. But then I think I would say, I think I acted as a talent spotter, I think last 3 years. And we supported, I think, some good guys. They've been groomed in NCA, and now they're playing for India. And the thing is that I think it was an excellent supply line for Indian cricket. And I think BCCI is doing a really good job of that. But NCA can play a very important role in Bangalore.
Is enough being done to in fact spot talent, or do we do it in spurts?
I think they have stopped that system.
They've stopped the system?
Yeah, but I don't know for what. But the thing is that it played a very, very important role in spotting talent. Because the thing is that I think a lot of players, I think from small towns have been spotted and groomed. And they are playing for India at the moment.
If they've stopped a system that was actually providing talent and providing the team for the future, then what will be the consequence? Suddenly, that supply line will dry up.
Yeah, that is the reason. Actually, I think we have to have, I think, the India A tours. I think those players, I think, who are in the fringe, I think, can do with the India A team, and gain experience and exposure.
So it sounds to me as if looking beyond the World Cup, your real concern is that we aren't building players for the future. We need to find the talent more actively and energetically.
Yeah, because if you see, I think 5 or 6 players at 34, 35, and they may they may be there for a year or 2.
And then what?
Yeah, and then what? That is why I think India A tours are very, very important. If you can organize those tours for Australia and other countries like South Africa, if the India A team can go there and play matches, they will get experience and the exposure.
Have you communicated this to the BCCI?
Yeah, we have.
Have they responded as you would like them to?
Not yet as such.
Not yet?
Not yet.
But time is running out. I mean, in a year or 2, these elder players will be retiring, and then what?
No, but if you see the itinerary, I think international itinerary as such, I think they'll be free, I think, only in August and September. In March and April.
So that's when they have to get into work?
They will have to get the work organized.
Are you confident BCCI will respond as you want them to?
I am sure they will.
You're sure?
I am sure they will.
Mr. Vengsarkar, a pleasure talking to you on Devil's Advocate.
Thank you very much.